Hi guys, what's going on? I am going to do a rather lengthy review of a service that I'm trying out at the moment. This will probably be a longer review than normal because I'm really going to dive deep into what I found out about the service, the Zero DTE Academy run by Coach Ernie. And so I'm really going to get into all of that and show you the results and the people that have had results and the actual dashboard and everything you get with this course. But before we get all into that, if you don't know who I am yet, my name is Russell Barber, and I've been testing hundreds of alert services for years now. If you'd like to see my top 10 alert services for 2025, check out the description below, and there should be a link to an article there. And so while you're at it, make sure you check out our course, which is called Learn How to Win 90% of Your Trades in 90 Seconds. This is done in conjunction with datatraders.com, and it is, of course, all about selling options, kind of like what Coach Ernie does, but it's a little bit different. Data Traders is this website right here. Again, you'll find all these links in the description below. And you can figure out exactly if this is something right for you. We do a lot of zero DTE, SPX alerts, and put credit spread alerts, along with futures trading stuff as well. So it's really good, and I would definitely check it out. So, with that, let's get going on with the actual review of Zero DTE Academy by Coach Ernie. So, there's quite a lot to cover here, so hopefully you can bear with me and stick with this review. I think you'll learn a lot from it. There's a lot to talk about, and it's interesting to see different people's opinions. So, let's get going and close these down. Let's get rid of Theta Traders. Definitely check Theta Traders out, it's really awesome. Okay, so let's get started. So, here is my initial review of Zero DTE Academy. This is Ernie right here. And so the nice thing about the course is it's only $35 a month, which is actually really on the low side. Like a lot of stuff, they want $1,000 up front or $2,000 up front. And so this is the first thing that I noticed about the system is it's only $35 a month, which everybody can afford, everybody can try for a month. It helps people like me review it because I don't have to spend $2,000 and just to find out it's junk. And the goal with this channel is to actually review stuff that's good that I use and show you guys. I try to avoid reviewing bad stuff because what's the point, you know? So basically, I came across this guy right here. So you can see this is a sponsored post on YouTube, sponsored 0DTE. And this is Coach Ernie. And it kept coming up over and over and over again. If you guys have the same algorithm as me, you'll probably see the same thing. So initially, I signed up for this. I actually thought there was going to be trade alerts, but there's no trade alerts. It really is an academy. It really is a teaching station only. You can pay a lot more, like he upsells you, and I think he does trade alerts, but I'm not completely sure. I know there's a lot of upselling to a few $1,000s. I think different numbers are banded around, but you can be upsold onto his like personal mentoring, which might include alerts. But at the heart of this, it's really a course which you have access to for as long as you pay the $35 per month, which is really good. So I started the review. This might be an ongoing thing because honestly, it's been really difficult to review this guy and his stuff, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I wanted to point out at the start of my review here that this is not an alert service. It's an extensive and challenging course which is probably, and this is a big emphasis on probably, a successful trading strategy. And we'll get into the details about why it might not be, why it probably is. But it's very, like, there's very mixed reviews on this. And my understanding of it is um, kind of limited too. So I did the whole course and I came out of it thinking, this is worth the money. It's definitely a lot of value. But can I trade this strategy after doing the Zero DTE Academy course? And the answer was, I don't think so. Not within at least like a week of going through it. And maybe that's fine. Maybe it takes a month or two to like, really get the hang of this. Then I started researching, and you'll see some of the more negative stuff that I have to say about this guy and his strategy and stuff surrounding it in just a little bit as well. So, like I said, I looked for an alert service, but instead I found a full, detailed video course on how to trade zero DTE out of the money butterflies with various strategies in all market conditions. So that's very powerful, right? Like all market conditions, out of the money butterflies. If you don't know much about that, which I didn't, I know a lot more now. But the money butterflies are an interesting strategy, and they're zero DTE in this case, so just that one day that you're holding them for. But before we get into all the strategy and everything, let's look at who the person behind the academy is, because this is like one of the main things in this industry, is who's behind the strategy and are they legitimate? Are they credible? Do they seem like somebody who you could trust? And there's a few things here that are really good, right? So Ernie Varamitos, or Coach Ernie, has spent the last 25 years coaching and advising hundreds of traders. That's what he says, at least that's what I found out online. And so you can see apparently he was, led an experimental hedge fund and managed portfolios exceeding nine figures in value. So all of this is like phenomenal, except it's not verifiable. And so I actually reached out to Ernie himself and haven't heard back from him about this. So the cool thing is he got the 0DTE.com domain name, so he ranks really well if you want to trade 0DTE options. And this has been a growing, really a really trendy way of trading for a while now, trading 0DTE options. So it's a great domain name to have. So he comes up in a lot of the search engines. So he's doing quite well. The services are booming because of that over the last few years. So there's a lot of stuff out there. I don't know where it comes from, but it's talking about him being a chief technologist at a Fortune 50 company, it's engineering agile business practices, blah blah blah. So designing algorithmic trading strategies. So the big takeaway from all of this is he emphasizes delivering asymmetric returns for his clients and students. So he basically says that the course is for people that want to take tiny, tiny losses and make giant, giant returns. So, with that in mind, going forward, this is a strategy that you can expect to only win 40% of the time or 50% of the time. And that means most of the time you're losing, right? You could, the vast majority, or at least half and half, you'll be losing and losing and losing and losing. And then you'll have a giant gain, and then you'll be losing and losing and losing and losing, and then you have a giant gain. So it's psychologically it's a very difficult strategy, but we'll get into all that. I just want to kind of go through this to start with. So this is kind of an overview. And again, this article will be linked in the description below, so you can go and check this out. However, digging a little deeper on this guy did deliver some kind of worrying results. Now, I want to preface this by saying that these are all speculation, and this is my opinion, and these are other people's opinion online, and I have no idea if any of this stuff is true or not. But I did a bit of research on Google about him, and then I decided to ask ChatGPT about him, and it confirmed a lot of the stuff that I'd found. So Ernie Varamitos, the founder of ZeroDTE.com, offers educational programs focused on zero DTE options, which is great. So it's not classified as an outright scam. It's essential to approach it with caution due to the high-risk nature of the strategies taught and concerns raised by users. That's what I got from Quora and Reddit. So if you want to search this on your own time, search for Quora and Reddit for this guy, and stuff comes up that is a little bit concerning, or quite concerning actually. So if we look down here, it looks like ChatGPT has done a decent job of finding out like what his course is worth. Like it didn't mention the $35 thing, so we're kind of like that's a bit strange. But I did verify that some of his VIP coaching is kind of on these sort of price tags right here. Now, as you'll see as I go on with this review, is that my review is pretty mixed as well. And some users do appreciate the depth of knowledge and the structured approach to zero DTE trading. This was a phenomenal course. I loved it. I thought it was hard and challenging and really in depth. And it really got me thinking about a lot of these different strategies. But there is a lot of complexity and risk. Their refund policy is not clear, but honestly, at $35 a month, you don't really care about that too much. And so there is a lot of upselling, which ChatGPT also figured out. There is a ton of that once you're in the $35 a month course. He wants you to be privately mentored by him. Now here's the legal stuff. So I want to caveat this again in that I don't know how true any of this is, what the outcome was, or if Veritimos or Coach Ernie was actually responsible for this, like what the deal is with all this. But in a review, it would be misleading of me not to include it in this, in this review. So in 2020, Veritas was named in a fraud-related lawsuit. Theus, which I think I read it a little bit, is a husband and wife who were basically having their accounts traded by Coach Ernie. However, the case was administratively closed shortly after filing and no further legal actions are noted. So it's interesting that ChatGPT here does summarize this pretty quickly in that no further legal actions are noted. So nobody really knows the outcome of this case. At least I can't figure it out. What I do know from searching on the internet, and you guys can do the same thing, is that this case was about a $1.2 million loss from the plaintiffs against against the defendant, Coach Ernie. And that is a bit strange to me because considering that the strategy that he uses is very small losses with huge wins every so often, it's very strange to me that it would result in over $1 million in losses. So there's definitely something a little bit strange going on there. So when you ask ChatGPT, is Ernie Varimitos and 0DTE.com a scam? It says definitely not. So according to ChatGPT, it's not a scam, but it's high risk. Anyway, thought I'd share that with you. It's definitely worth the research in this guy. You'll find Reddit and Quora posts. The validity of those, I don't know. Maybe it's competitors, maybe it's nonsense, who knows. But when you're considering learning from somebody, it's worth at least knowing a bit about their background. And so I actually conducted a search on my Facebook group. So on facebook.com. So I run a Facebook group called Stock Alerts Reviewed. Or no, it's actually how to make money from stock alert services. And so if you search this, so I'll leave a link in the description so you can come and join us. But if you search this group for Ernie, here we go. So this was a post I made just a few days ago. So we click on this. Yeah, it takes me to the article. I'm trying to get to the actual Facebook post here. Let's see. It might be easier just to navigate from here down. There's not a lot of activity at the moment. Here we go. So I posted this review that I'm, trying to talk to you guys about today. And there's been a few comments. So I thought I'd go through the comments and see, you know, what's going on with this guy. So Glenn Accord says, thanks for getting around to this one. I'm planning on signing up for the training. And to Glenn, I'd say, like, definitely do it. It's worth it. And it'll probably give you some ideas, if nothing less. At $35 a month, it's definitely worth it. And that's what it said. Can't go wrong at $35 a month. But I did have a struggle understanding enough from the $35 a month thing to really actually execute this. So it's cool to see other people's feedback that, is unbiased. Aaron Atlas says, I have a friend that's trading this, currently about break even. So I questioned him a little bit more about that, and he said he'd been at it about 3 months, which is not really that significant a time, really, when you think about it. You could break even on a strategy for 3 months and then be profitable for the rest of the year. So I said, I'm not too surprised, but that could change on Monday with one big win. The main strategy is to lose small amounts 50% of the time or more, and then one big win, and back to losing almost break even and bang, another big win. And so you have to be aware that that's the type of strategy that it is. And so um, Aaron said about 3 months now he's been trading this. From what I understand, it's not easy to get the big wins because you tend to take profits early, which is always a problem with all trading, is you tend to take profits quickly and let losses run big. So it's remember, you're not getting alerts from Ernie. You're having to learn the strategy and implement it yourself, which means you're subject to your own emotions and your own trading ability, which may not psychologically be suited for this type of strategy. Not everybody wants to win 50% of the time. It can be hard. It can be really hard. And so Lance from thetatraders.com came in here and he said butterflies don't hit the huge gains unless you let them expire or close right before expiration. And that can take a lot of trade monitoring and like altering the trade as time goes on. So like it's not as easy as Ernie might make it sound, which is not surprising because all these services are like that. Pete Frank waded in here. He said, I was a member of the service for a while. A couple of things. First, it's very time consuming, requires at least 40 hours a week. Trades are generally placed in your market open and you don't realize maximum profit until the closing bell. So many times you have to sit there the entire day monitoring the trade. That's bad. The other thing I didn't like is the coach traded a very small account, somewhere around 30 or 40,000. I'm not sure where he got this from. Maybe he upgraded to the VIP thing, but there's no indication for me inside the course. And I'm going to show you inside the course in a little bit. There's no indication of what size account that Ernie's trading. But that reminds me, there's some results on Quora and Reddit that did say that uh, Ernie didn't make much money over the years, and he's in his 60s or something, and that he couldn't even afford a lawyer or things. So there's definitely some red flags if you believe what you read online, which, of course, who knows what's true and what's not. He boasted about making 30 to 50% yearly returns because the account was so small, you can get a minimum wage job and the same amount of money. So this guy's making the point that if this guy's so good, why is he only trading $30,000 accounts where he could be trading $1 million and making 500,000 a year? He says this is me projecting, but I always felt like he did not have enough confidence in his own strategy to trade a significant amount of money and make actual money. So pretty interesting. I mean, these are interesting comments. So if you're not in my Facebook group, definitely come and join it because you get some insights from people that are in these types of services that you might not otherwise have access to. So, for example, if you were wanting to sign up with Coach Ernie, you could message Pete Frank and say, "Hey, your response was interesting. Can you tell me more?" Blah blah blah. So that's the advantage of joining the Facebook group that we run, and it has over 6,000 or 7,000 members or something. We do polls and things like that too. Anyway, not to get too much off topic, let's go back to the review. So that's kind of an insight into who Coach Ernie is, what his past may be like. It's pure speculation. Can't believe everything you read on the internet. For $35 a month, it's worth a shot. Give him a chance. So what do you learn? So that's the big question. You sign up for this $35, which is nothing really, and it is an extensive course. So this I actually really liked and hated at the same time. So it's extensive, and I'll show you the dashboard in a few minutes. But the Zero DTE Academy offers a foundations video course along with many other videos, and it is really informative. It's fairly easy to understand. He does a good job doing it, I think. Although I came out of it struggling a little bit, it might just be me. But Ernie does seem to have a deep and sophisticated understanding of the trading in these advanced option strategies like the out of the money butterfly, which is something you guys might never have actually thought about trying. So it's clear that this course is geared towards people that have prior knowledge of options trading. So Ernie launches straight into stuff about butterflies, doesn't talk about selling options at all, doesn't talk about premium, doesn't talk about any of this stuff. He launches straight into detailed knowledge of the strategies that he uses. And so he kind of forgets, at least in the foundations course, to really help the person who doesn't know what selling for premium is, doesn't know what a spread is, doesn't know what a butterfly is. And that's something that struck me as kind of strange straight off the bat. I did find that information embedded inside the academy, which is right here, but it was in other parts of the classroom stuff that I found that. And so if you go to the classroom and you start the course and you do the foundations course, you're going to be quickly overwhelmed if you've not got a good, deep understanding of sell side options already. It really will take you like, you're like, what is he talking about? You're going to be like, so it's definitely interesting. Like, it goes into significant detail about premium decay, setting butterfly widths based on volatility and market direction, and using profile analysis pre-select strike levels. So this is kind of what his edge is, and he talks about different edges that he has, and this is like all kind of summarized right here. In that he seems so familiar with the stuff that he doesn't convey the basics right off the bat. So you have to kind of know what premium decay is, what a spread width is, what a butterfly is, how volatility affects things, and even what using volume profile analysis is. So there is a steep learning curve to this. I'd say it's one of the steepest learning curves I've ever seen in any trading course ever, which is saying a lot because I've done a lot of these courses. That being said, if you do know what you're doing roughly, like you've sold maybe some spreads over the years and you know the basics about butterflies and things, this does take you to a whole different level in terms of support and resistance, or just basically set your center for the butterfly, and all this information is actually really good. So it does emphasize entry timing, improving the trade consistency using volume profile analysis to select which way the market is likely to go or where it's supposed to bounce or be rejected from. Basically, he is really good in that he does choose different strategies. So he has more than one strategy, which is good, right? Depending on the market conditions, depending on VIX. So he uses classic out of the money butterfly most of the time, but he has these other three strategies which he uses if there's strange volatility or there's not volatile at all or it's really, really volatile. These can be very profitable as well. So it's really good that he adapts his strategy based on how the market is doing. So he explains early on that you're not going to find a trade all the time, but 80% of the time there'll be a trade, one of these particular things right here. And their morning routine is stressed really well. So I like how he explains how you go about finding out what trade to do and how to do it. So yeah, it's pretty good in a lot of ways. A notable part of the course is it is very disciplined in risk management, which is great. So he treats the trades like you can lose 100% of the trade. So it's very small risk. You don't go in big on these, right? You have to be okay with losing 100% over and over again. But when you aim big, you get a big win, even though it's only a 50% win rate overall. So here's a rough breakdown of the strategy, and we'll go into the dashboard in a little bit. But this is after talking to people, doing the course, reading through stuff, this seems to be what he does vaguely. So basically, he looks at ES pre-market, and he looks at the profile volumes pre-market, the different levels. And when one of these levels during the session hits the volume profile on ES, he switches to SPX at that point and sets up a butterfly trade that's out of the money based on its account size and risk tolerance. And this is really good. It's stressed a lot inside the course that you should be very aware of what your risk size is, your account size, and all this. So all this stuff is really good, and it's very professional and really well done. So it's definitely interesting. Volume profile is the support and resistance stuff. So if you're interested in this course does go into in minute detail. There's probably 2 or 3 hours of videos just on volume profile for support and resistance. I think this is important because a lot of people don't use volume profile for support and resistance, but a lot of the professionals do. So this is really interesting. So there is a focus on learning the volume profile for support and resistance levels rather than just like highs and lows on, traditional candlestick charts. So this is definitely a level up from what you'd normally get in a normal course. This is not straightforward as a lot of courses are. So Ernie talks about how candlesticks alone show price and time, but not volume at specific price levels. So the idea that support and resistance are best identified through historical volume levels is definitely something that if you want to learn, this course is for you. For $35 in a month, you can easily learn all this stuff from the course. I want to reiterate here that he does teach an asymmetric trading strategy. So it has a low win rate, but the big wins take out all the losses plus a bit more. So it is apparently overall consistently profitable. That's up for debate depending on what you find on Google. So basically you're getting these disproportionately large rewards that are just not really like the losses are insignificant in comparison. But like Lance said in this post that I showed you, that's not always the case. So you have to be careful. In theory and in practice, you might not actually be able to do that. So you have to be monitoring the trade, you have to be able to adjust the trade, and so on. So in theory, and this is important, in theory, you get disproportionately large rewards compared to the small small losses in theory, but the actual execution is much harder than it sounds in reality. So you can go on and show like what it should look like, but again, human emotions come into this, and you'll get a different result from what you should get because of emotions and things. So it's still not like some sort of magic bullet here to win out, to have a really good strategy. All right, moving on with some of the other stuff that you'll find inside the Zero DTE Academy. You can see I did the foundations course here, the start here course here. I've gone through a lot of this stuff, looked at the weekly live coach call archives. These are fantastic, and I think I mentioned that in my article here. So twice a week, Coach Ernie goes into the live Q&A sessions to break down trades, answer questions, help you refine your process. This is all phenomenal. So one of the things that I found with this particular service is Ernie will go in and he'll answer your questions on the forums inside here. So if you go to community inside the Zero DTE Academy here, you will find people asking questions. So here's different questions. People, Tim Santel, different people here. And Ernie will actually answer them, which is phenomenal. And then he holds these weekly calls where he'll also answer questions as well. So there's no lack of real interaction with him, which I really love because it's really good if you have some expert like Ernie and you are able to get feedback from him about trades that you're going to look at and you're going to do. Um, this is phenomenal. It helps you refine your process, it helps you give you confidence, and it's just phenomenal. So he runs basic options Q&A live sessions on Mondays, advanced options Q&A live sessions on Fridays. And the archive that I went through was phenomenal. It goes through all the stuff that was missed out in the foundations course. So the unfortunate thing here is when you go to the classroom, the foundations course jumps straight into everything. The real low level stuff is in these call archives right here. So going into that helped me a lot. Even though I'm a fairly experienced trader, I'm not that experienced with like butterflies and stuff like that. So anyway, for free, you can get morning live streams from Ernie. So he goes live on YouTube. So if you search Ernie Zero DTE live YouTube, you'll find, on his YouTube channel where you can get these. And this gives you key market insights to spot opportunities early. It gives you the actionable strategies you can use immediately and a focused game plan for trading that day. But it's not exclusive to paying members, which is a little bit disappointing. You'd hope that would be included and be exclusive for his members. So if you're not a member, you don't want to pay the $35, you can get some information from his YouTube channel. So basically, these are directional trades. So usually when you're selling options, you don't care too much about the direction. These are fairly directional. And so he does try to predict which way the market's going to go. Daily directional confirmation. And that sets the debit and butterfly width, which you can see in his volume node levels and his market profile stuff. So hopefully that makes sense. I do like the community. So like I just showed you right here, if we go to community, I do like this forum style system. So this was a day ago. Tim Santo posted zero TE, zero DTE YouTube for morning sell, post address on. So, that was only one response. So not really super active or anything. And you get people complaining about their accounts being locked or something. But these are the valuable posts. Like this guy is like asking, like, we click on this. I opened a call fly on SPX with these strikes at this price. The strikes below it, we're trading for more. Blah, blah. So it can get pretty detailed, and then you can get some really good feedback from other members. Click here. And then Ernie, you saw Ernie right there, right? So Ernie would answer right as well, which is really valuable. For $35 a month, having access to Ernie directly like this is really good. As you can see, his answer right there. So that's something I really like about the system. There's lots of feedback, including from Ernie himself. So on to does it actually work? Now this is the big question that everybody wants to know when you sign up to learn a strategy or to get trade alerts. Does it actually work? And it's never ever a simple question and answer. Like it never is. So first off, there's no long-term track record from Ernie. So you don't log into the trading academy here, right? You don't log in and get his brokerage statements. There's no record whatsoever of any profitable trading at all. There's no spreadsheet, there's no Excel thing, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. So you have to take this guy at his word that he has a profitable strategy. That's a big negative for me, right? If you have like a lot of the services I'm involved with, like IWM alerts, theta traders, zero DTE, SPX income spread stuff, we always keep a track record. Roger Scott's team and all that stuff, they keep really detailed track records. It's not hard to keep a track record, put it in your members area and then market it, right? Like, and that makes me wonder whenever I see that there's no track record at all, like nothing, it makes me take a step back and go, why not? Why would you not keep a track record? Does it not yield a positive expectancy over a long period? The math says it should. The strategy is not really particularly up for debate about whether it mathematically would work. It should. Of course, a lot of people fail at it. That's the problem. Can they master and follow the strategy? So here's a couple of things that I've not mentioned yet. One is have spoken in depth to a subscriber, and maybe she's watching, who's done about 30 trades, mostly simulated, and she's found the strategy to be very profitable, with winners typically around $2,500 and losses at about $300. So her experience has been overwhelmingly positive. She loves the control she has. She loves the fact that she learned a strategy and can implement it by herself with no input from Ernie really whatsoever. There's no alerts to follow. She's learned the strategy well, and I think she's done exceptionally well to do that because I don't think I'd be at the point where I could do that anytime soon, even though I've gone through the course. I mentioned here that some of the trades will require a lot of careful monitoring and adjustments, which might be easy to mess up. And you don't have particular alerts or anything, so it's not like you know when you take a trade after doing the course what you should do. You could post in the academy if you want here and be like, help, and hopefully somebody answers. But overall, the losses are small and the winners are large if you let them expire worthless. But some people will not be able to stomach losing 50% or even 60% of their trades. It's a whole different level of like commitment. However, even if those losses are small, it is demoralizing when you see loss after loss after loss after partial big win and then loss and then loss and then loss and then partial big win, loss, 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 loss. You get the idea. You have like a sawtooth going on. So the strategy does seem to leverage directional bias, which gives it an edge. So I'm not saying the strategy doesn't work. I just haven't seen any proof from anybody that it does work. However, like I say here, the subscribers using the system that I've spoken to, particularly one woman, is that it has been profitable and do love the strategy. But this was written before this guy waded in, Pete Frank waded in here, and a couple others in this thread. So overall, it's kind of like a wash. So yeah, like I said, Ernie is available in the forums, and that is really good. That's really good. But I'd prefer if he had a verifiable track record of some sort. Even if it's not verifiable, even if it's just a track record showing his like what his positions are and how it worked out over the last year. It's just there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So you could spend all your time completing this whole course, spending the $35, which of course is absolutely nothing compared to the prices in this industry, and learn a strategy that actually is extremely difficult to make work, and maybe Ernie himself hasn't made actually work. We don't know because he hasn't shared any of his data. So yeah. So I actually had a bit of a mental block on this, and I spoke to another subscriber of his system, and they were finding it easy to trade, but for me it was actually very difficult. Hopefully this has given you like an overview of this system. I don't know how clear I've made this. I've kind of gone through the community. So the forum style thing, the classroom, which has different foundations course here. So you can go through that. There's tons of modules here. classic out of the money butterfly. This one, Batman strategy, time warp, volume profile stuff. So there's definitely amazing information in here. But are you going to come out of it and be a profitable trader? It's impossible to tell. My bet is it may be difficult. And the reason I say that is because of the mixed reviews and my own kind of experience with this is that it's been very difficult to take what's taught and actually make it a proper like system. So in the end, if you're looking to deeply embrace a zero DTE trading strategy that offers winners that are 5 to 10 times the size of losing trades, but you're willing to lose 50% of the time, this could be for you. So if that is your style of trading, this could be good. But let me go to the internet for a quick second. So let's go to Google and type in Ernie zero DTE. Um, let's just see what comes up. So his website, of course, is top by Coach Ernie. Here we go. Let's look down here. Some people have taken some time to do some videos here. This is a big problem. So I hate taking these things because it really opens me up to, criticism from other people that this is a problem, right? So Ernie Varamitos from ZeroDTE.com lost $1 million of his client money and was sued and recently declared, and this guy goes on to say bankruptcy. So this is not a good look. Someone claimed that he's not profitable and that he likely did not ever work on Wall Street. That's completely unverifiable. But the $1.2 million is verifiable because there is links to the websites. You can see I already clicked on this and went and checked them out. And of course, he told the client, like he does everybody in the course, that you should expect big gains and only small losses. Yet the client lost over $1 million. And the most worrying thing of all, and this is what's really weird about this whole thing, I want to believe the strategy is a winning strategy. Mathematically, it should be, but human emotions can often offset that mathematical advantage. Apparently, he couldn't afford a lawyer and ended up declaring bankruptcy. And you can see the filing here. And you're free to do your own due diligence on this when you want to do it as well. Kind of looking through here. Guy does good reviews. It's worth watching that. And he has videos and articles on that as well. But yeah, just do your due diligence on this stuff. See what you think. For me, overall, my like final sort of conclusion here, close this stuff down, is that this isn't for me. I'm okay paying $35 a month and continuing to go through the stuff and trying to set my own trades and things. But honestly, using butterflies directionally is not really for me. It just isn't. The lack of credibility from other online sources makes me really doubt that this strategy works for most people. I might be wrong, and feel free to comment in the description or in the comments below. Like, you're wrong, Russell. This is not, it works perfectly. It's great. I'm happy to be wrong. Um, but I feel like what he's doing is the $35 per month is a way to get you in, establish credibility that he is a phenomenal trader without any verifiable track record, and then upsell you on his mentoring. See here, do you want to be mentored by Coach Ernie? Click here to apply. See what pops up here. It doesn't tell you the price. You have to watch video and schedule a call. It's never a great sign if you schedule a call because they use hard closers to try and get you to pay 5,000, 10,000 or more with a lot of these services to try and close you on that stuff. So overall, summing it up, I think for $35, if you're interested in this type of strategy, it's worth the money. It is. It is worth it. I learned a lot. You probably learn a lot if you're not really familiar with this style of trading. You'll learn a lot. Is it profitable and is it likely to lead to a lot of success for everybody? That's harder to say. It really is harder to say. And so hopefully you guys can do your own due diligence on this, figure out if it's something you want to try. Like I said, come to this article. I have a link for $35 a month right here, right at the top of the article. You can read through this. I'll add to it as I go along. So I'm going to continue this, and this is not the end of my review of Zero DTE Academy with Coach Ernie. And I hope you guys have found value from this. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.